Okay, so we're going to go over how to make this wing more animator friendly. Right now they would have to key each joint individually, and it might be nice for them to have an attribute that they could control manually. So first thing we need to do is give them a control so they don't need to select joints. And we're going to set up some set-driven keys on these joints that will be driven by a custom attribute on the control that we create. So I'm going to create nervous primitives, a circle. I'm going to snap this to this joint. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to go into component mode and shuffle this around and kind of make this look somewhat like a bird wing. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my top view here. I'll just have to fiddle with these until I get it to look how I want it to look. Okay. Okay, so I'm liking that pretty well. Just going to grab them all. Missed one. Grab them all and move them up. Just above the wing just slightly. And that'll work. And I could change this at any point that I want to just by going into component mode and moving around at CVs. So that's that. I need to go ahead and rename this. Call this the wing underscore L underscore anim for animation type control. And then the freeze transformations and delete history on it. Delete history, freeze transformations. And now we need to add a custom attribute to this so that explains what we're going to do to the wing. So we're going to go to add attribute and call it fold extend. You almost always want to, when you're creating these custom attributes, you want to think about how you can make them dual purpose. So you don't want it to be just a fold. You want it to also, extend it out. Like a squash and a stretch, like we covered earlier in this class. Like that one's so common we call it a squetch. But anyhow, so I'm set minimum of -10, maximum of 10, default of 0. Click OK. It adds that attribute. Okay, so now you go to my hypergraph. See if I can put it in here. Don't normally do it this way, so we'll see how long I can stand it. So there's my wing control. Here are my other joints. Let me go ahead and go to options, display hidden, so I can see everything that's going on. Sometimes I even show the shape nodes, but that won't be necessary right now. And okay, so I need to select the joints that are going to be driven by this custom attribute fold extend. So, and that's going to be the shoulder, elbow, and wrist joint. Okay, So with all three of those selected, I'm going to hold down the space bar, go to File, or not File, Animate, Set Driven Key, Set. And it has those three joints listed in the driven portion of the window. And I select my animation control and then click Load Driver. There's my custom attribute. And I'm going to select that custom attribute, and I'm going to say this is the default pose. This is important to have as a rigger. A way to get it back to its bind pose, really easy. And we're going to be driving the rotate Y's, it looks like. So if I can tell that if I make sure that my translate manipulator or move tool is in object mode or local, either way it should work. And anyway, I can see that Y is pointing up. So the green handle is pointing up. That means we're going to rotate around that axis. So I'm going to select this rotate Y and click key. Okay, I can see that they're now being controlled by keyed information because the nodes in the hypergraph turned to trapezoids instead of rectangles. Okay, now I need to pose this. After I'm going to do it with my fold first. I'm going to say that's a -10. Then I'm going to select my shoulder joint and I'm going to rotate it in as most as possible. I'm going to switch to probably my orthographic top view so I can see this better. I'm going to rotate this back as far as I think it should ever go. I usually like to go back plus some. So the animator can really compress it if they want to. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to grab the elbow and rotate it forward because we're trying to compress it, and I'm going to overdo it. Just so you guys know, I'm going to overdo it intentionally just so the animator can really compress this if he chooses. Then I'm going to grab the wrist and fold it in. Okay, so now it's really in there. I know it's too far, but I'm doing that intentionally, just so you know. Okay, I'm going to select all three of these joints in my set driven key window and maintain the rotate Y as a selection and the fold extend attribute and key. Okay, I'm going to select my wing left anim and I'm going to extend this out to a +10 there. And I'm going to hyperextend this wing to its maximum. Okay, so starting with the shoulder, going to go straight, maybe this way. Elbow, go straight, maybe even too far, kind of almost to a broken wing. Then the wrist, going to go forward, just a touch. Okay, I'm going to select all of these, make sure that fold extend is still selected, and hit key. Okay, so now that is done, I can select my wing anim here, and I can fold the wing up or extend it. Okay, so that's nice. Animator can do that all at once. But what if they want to go back and tweak it? What if they can't get the exact deformation they want on the wing using just this attribute? So we need to enable them to be able to do that. So all we have to do is add to our hierarchy of joints. Okay, so I'll have to do some relabeling and recreating of these joints. So I need to create another shoulder, elbow, and wrist. And I'm just going to grab the shoulder and press Control D.